championships will break a tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the most Super Bowl wins in NFL history. The Seahawks are going for their second Super Bowl title. They've won 3 in a row against the Patriots, but New England holds ultimate bragging rights with a 28-24 win against Seattle in Super Bowl 49, sealed by Patriots cornerback Malcolm Butler's goal line interception. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered areas of snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times here early today, then a few spotty flurries here late, with cloudy skies and a high into the mid-30s. Winds out of the northwest increased around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. Tonight, decreasing cloud cover, a low near 11. By Saturday, sunshine, high of 24 degrees. Sunday, cloudy, high of 32. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 29.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday morning, progressives. Welcome to the February 6th, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278 is our number. Text us, call us. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Of course, email me at richard@wcpt820.com. And you can follow me on X and Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social Substack, Spoutable, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Threads. That's where we hang out. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify, as well as iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views featured interviews, Joan Esposito live, local and progressive, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, It's Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other great shows and interviews. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com to check out all of our great posts and articles that are there. As we always say, our digital newsroom, they do their thing, guys. They do their thing. Today's Friday, Friday the 6th of February. We're just moving along. I guess that little, that dude, people said that dude saw his shadow, Puxaconnie Phil. So, all right, cool. I guess he did. Hope he didn't scare himself when he saw it. Who was that? Today's show, attorney Robert Hell will be with us. He'll be talking about, and be in studio with us, attorney and activist. And he's one of the folks that have been really looking into as a watchdog of ICE. So looking forward to chatting with him this morning. Also, it's Friday, so our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast will be hanging out with us. She'll be in studio with us this morning. And then at 7:30, Mayor Brandon Johnson will be with us as well. So we are very, very happy to have the folks hanging out with us this morning. I'm going to give away a movie, Greg Palast movie, Vigilantes. I'll let you know. I'm letting you know now that I'm going to give that movie away. And we will I'll tell you what it's going to be that'll be for the winner for the movie. It'll be fun, something easy, but relevant to where we are right now. But what I want to do for the next moment is I want to say thank you. And say thank you without getting too choked up. Today is the anniversary of my second year on WCPT for Choose Views. Technically, it was yesterday, but today is a day of going into third year. Thank you, Henry. And I just truly a heartfelt, and you can hear it in my throat, thank you to so many people. I'm going to start with my wife, Ann, who is just a soldier. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. She's a wonderful human being, and I'm blessed to have her in my life. I love you, and I thank you so much for all of your support and your guidance and your wisdom. I want to thank the station, WCPT, as well as Heartland Signal for their support and their guidance and their wisdom, top down. I also want to thank all of the team here. I say it every week, maybe not every day, but every week. We have a wonderful team here. Henry's here with me in studio this morning. He's my young brother. He's my road dog. Devin is awesome. Mike's awesome. Lady B, Paul, our new guy, Maddie B, and all of our team and staff here. It's been a blessing and an honor to do this, and I take it seriously. And as I say, I want to bring you guys the best that I've got every single day. With that being said, and I hope I didn't forget anybody here at the station and management, everybody, Mark, Matt, Renee, the whole team, Steve Lessman. I also want to thank Joan and Patty and Edwin as our live show partners. We round each other out. We're a good team. We do it differently, but all with the goal being to go in a similar direction. And that direction, God willing, is to bring you or to create a path and throw you guys on the train and bring you along with us. And in many cases, learn from what you guys know that we may not know, frankly. And so I thank Joan, I thank Patty, I thank all of our live hosts, of course, Edwin and our weekend folks, and our other shows, Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, in terms of our daily, weekly shows. But I also want to thank you guys as a listening audience. However you listen to my show or any of the shows that are broadcast on WCPT, we all thank you. We know it's true, we say it, but we still we have to say it and mean it. But without you guys, we would not have what we have and the ability to reach out and touch people all over the country. So I thank you guys as well for being such an important part of the work that we do here on all of our shows, whether it be my show, any of the other shows, any day of the week. We cannot do it without you. And then the last people that I want to thank, and these are the ones that'll probably get me choked up. I want to give a huge thanks to Eric Grant, who hosts a family meeting, my cousin. Eric's a great guy, great dude, wonderful man, great father, great husband, and I appreciate all that he's done in his leadership. And I also want to thank Michelle Peltier, because you all know Michelle sits in for me when I got to take a break and get my oars realigned. So I want to thank those two as well. Michelle and Eric have just been amazing friends and family, and they're always there for me, and I don't get to be on the family meeting as much as I maybe would like to be anymore, but it's home for me, and it's the show that kind of allowed me to become initially a part of the WCPT family. So thanks to Eric, and you guys, you need to tune into the family meeting because it's a great show, and it's a show that is one of the I'd say in many ways is part of the backbone of what we do here at WCPT. And that's giving people the opportunity to speak their mind in an unfiltered way. We all try to do that here. But, I just got to give a huge shout out and hug to Eric and to Michelle for their support and their love. So just to let everybody know, thank you for 2 years. If I missed anybody, it's not because I wasn't thinking about you, but I just didn't put a list together. I just wanted to come from the heart. And let's do this. Let's do this another couple of years. Let's fight this damn thing. Let's push back on these knuckleheads. Let's listen. Everybody, go out this weekend and buy a sledgehammer, small, medium, or large. And I don't want you walking down the street dragging it down the sidewalk. Clink, 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 clink. No, just grab a sledgehammer and put that at the back door or front door of your house. And when you leave the house every day or when you get up every morning, recognize that you have the ability to be a sledgehammer in this fight. Seriously, go buy one. You can get one at whatever store for a little bit of money. It might be a small one, but go get yourself a sledgehammer because we want to be able to fight this with all that we've got, because we have to. We have to. There is no choice. I spoke last night after Greg's movie Vigilantes was aired out in Hinsdale. And that's what my message was and is fighting. That's all we got. And we fight with each other to fight forward. Then we will be able to push this thing back. But it's going to take all of us leaning in and leaning in hard. So thanks also to Greg for such a wonderful event last night. I'll give away a movie sometime during the show today, and we'll go from there. But thank you all for 2 great years. Let's keep doing this. But right now, speaking of fighters, check this out, progressives.
Everybody around the world copies African Americans and then yet disrespects them. GPS is a black woman. Well, 3D imaging is a black woman. Laser eye surgery is a black woman. Escalators a black inventor. Elevators a black inventor. The roller coaster, the cell phone, our video games is Jerry Lawson. Mary Van Brighton. In 1966, she invented the home security. You're talking about open heart surgery, Daniel Hale. Plasma, Charles Drew. We can keep going. Surgical equipment. Black people inventing, just constantly inventing. And they took everything and lied. And black people are still thriving. Black women have the highest degrees in America. These are the same women that were operated on with no anesthesia, but they're #1 in academics. Atrocities that African Americans have been through, I'm surprised we are this peaceful.
Black History Month. I said every day we're going to drop a little something on you. That's comedian Godfrey. You can look him up. The Flywire mag is where that comes from. Yeah, this is true. I mean, it's undeniable. We, as black folks in this country, have contributed greatly to what is American history. And so our way of, it's funny how he said this, and I said this version of this last night. There's things that are going on in our country right now that create crazy sadness and disappointment. And at the same time, the other, emotion, there's 3 of them. There's anger, and then there's disappointment and sadness, and then in the middle there's joy and the energy to fight forward. And that's what I lean into right now. There's sadness about what's happening, disappointment, tears, heartache on one side. On the other side, there is anger, not frustration, but there is flat out anger. But I choose to channel that and find the joy so that we can move forward. That's my responsibility as an adult, is to channel those emotions that might be in opposition of one another, and then forge ahead so that we all can get things done, so that we can continue to live a life that we, or strive to live a life that we desire. So that's how I look at this. And when I see all these great things that black folks have done for centuries, not decades, in this country, that's one of the reasons why during this Black History Month, we will bring you a little bit of something every day. Let's take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Hey, where's Hal Sparks? I'm not sure where he is now, but I know where you can find him Saturdays at 11. He'll be right here on WCPT 820 for the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
This is Richard Chu. Stay tuned for WCPT and Heartland Signal's U.S. Senate Candidate Forum. It starts at 1 Central. Catch it on 8:20 a.m., heartlandsignal.com, and Facebook Live.
Stephanie Miller.
I get to say my favorite sentence in the entire world. Here comes Kathy Griffin, hero of democracy. Hello.
How are we going to do this? Because I know we're both going to want to talk at the same time because it's a love fest. I am so in love with you. You are so important and wonderful and funny and brilliant, and you are who I aspire to be.
When
I grow up, I want to be you.
No, you.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820. This is WCPT 820. Where facts matter.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. And, like I said, so many thank yous to go out there. And like I know that you never miss anybody because you know in your heart who you thank. So just because you don't necessarily thank people publicly doesn't mean that you don't feel their impact in your life, in your heart every day. Couple of things we'll get to now because we've got a tight show. As you know, today we're going to be with our forum. So today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan will be preempted by WCPT's Senate Candidate Forum. Post the forum coverage, William Muck will go until about 4 o'clock. And after that, he'll talk to political science professors Joel Ostro and Susan Shaw. Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, AM 820, Heartland Signal, and TuneIn. And then tonight on Driving It Home, Patty will be joined by Sasha Abramsky, freelance journalist and author of his new book, American Carnage, How Trump, Musk, and Doge Butchered the U.S. Government. Eric Sean Ding, candidate for Illinois State Representative in the 52nd House District of Illinois, and Melissa Villanueva, candidate for DuPage County District 1. That's Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal, TuneIn, and Facebook, YouTube as well. Monday on Choose Views, my guests will include Dr. Annie Andrews, pediatrician, one of those smart people running for office, public health expert and candidate for Senate in South Carolina. She'll be seeking a seat to unseat Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Yeah, it's time for Lindsey to go. Way past time. So we got to get behind Dr. Andrews. We'll be talking to her on Monday. Sarah Jones, managing editor and co-publisher of Politicus USA and The Daily. Robert Papp, professor of political science at the University of Chicago, specializing in international security affairs. And next week, North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton, candidate for State Rep Demi Polachek, immigration attorney and candidate for Texas House Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, Texas State Rep Gene Wu, and our regulars Karen Byrne, Kurt Mullett, and Michelle Duster will all be hanging out with us. Saturday on It's a Democracy, Stupid, Edwin's guests are national security analyst and journalist David Rothkopf, J. Patrick Coolican, editor-in-chief of the Minnesota Reformer, Holly McCall, editor of Tennessee Lookout, a news outlet covering Tennessee politics and government, and Bill Scheer is the politics editor of the Washington Monthly. His latest article is 3 takeaways from the Taylor Remit, Texas shocker. It's the Democracy Stupid, Saturdays, 1 to 4 p.m. Central here on WCPT. All right, guys, that's what's happening. You know that we've got the Senate Candidate Forum today at the Union Local Hall on West Washington. I think it's 1323 West Washington. I've got the address right. But we're sold out. So tune in, plug in. Patty, Joan, and I will be there moderating the event, which I'm super excited about, looking forward to. And we plan on bringing you a really good event. Thanks to all the team for their work in putting it together. And most definitely thanks to the sponsors that are part of the event. And speaking of events, we keep the message going. You guys know that I'll be down in North Carolina on March 1st. For listeners there in North Carolina, don't miss the Building Bridges Fireside Chat. It's a free event that I'll be co-hosting with North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton. Just 2 days before their state Democratic primary, we'll be joined by North Carolina State Reps Rodney Pierce and Dante Pittman, along with Pastor James Gaillard, candidate for North Carolina State Senate, in an open conversation with North Carolina voters. The event takes place at Word Tabernacle Choir. Why do I say choir? I do it every single time. The event is taking place at Word, and I'm reading it, Word Tabernacle Church in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Got to laugh at ourselves. Sunday, March 1st, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And to register, go to heartlandsignal.com and click on my picture. It will take you to my show page where you'll find the information about the event and registration for the link. I had some people last night ask me about it. So you can go to my show page and click on my picture. Or send a text to 773-763-9278, and we'll send you the link. So there. That's how you do it. All right. I got to throw some... I got through a couple firebombs out there. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but there's never a time when I say how much lower can Donald Trump go, because he's already in the gutter, way in the gutter, swimming. He swims in the gutter. and some people that are around him that have to listen to, from what I hear, his flatulence, believe that as well, unfortunately. But that being said, you guys may or may not have seen this post that he put on Truth Social of former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama, where they did these memes of them like looking like monkeys. Man, oh man. So I've got a lot of things to say about it. Where's Black MAGA on that one? I had to go there for a second. But where is everybody? Where are all this is the reason that he did it. First of all, is because he acts like a chump. Because I'm saying what he acts like, so that no one can come back and go, you said. What I said is he acts like a chump. He acts like a little whiny baby all the time. President Obama and Mrs. Obama, they can stand on their own too. They can handle this garbage. And it's unfortunate that Malia and Sasha have to see, their mother and father get that from a so-called president. But, it's moments like this where I look at other leaders and I ask them, the everyday, garbage can MAGA voter and supporter, I don't have any expectations of them. I really don't. We got to live with these people that are childish and disgusting. And this is one of those moments where, Eric Grant says this often, the people that we expect to advocate for our permanent interest, left, right, in the middle. But this is one of those things that when you have these sycophants running around in his administration, like Pam Bondi, Caroline Leavitt, all the others, and I'm calling out the women in this case because, women fight hard enough as it is to be respected, and we want to do our job as men to do a better job and a better job and a better job. But when you're president, so Christy and Pam and Caroline and Nancy Mace and all the rest of you, I won't call you the word. It's not the one you were thinking, but don't stand up for other women and how he went after Caitlin Collins. To go after, Barack's Southside Chicago, Michelle, Southside Chicago. But for the women who don't push back and say, why would you put a meme up about a former first lady like a monkey? This is why I don't have any pause when I go after them, because in the way that I do, if I went after them really the way I want to, people would probably lose their minds. But that's the part where I look at it and I just go, wow, you all are just really disgusting. She's a former first lady. So and I see these things, and that's when I go, the everyday, garbage can, living MAGA, I don't have any expectation for them. I don't have any hope that they're going to, until they decide to leave MAGA, they're going to say anything. They're just going to push it along. It's the people who are elected officials who should know better. They do know better, but they're piebacks. And especially the ones that are on the right. Why would you stand behind? Why do you not have the guts to call your president out and say that's unacceptable, Donald Trump? You don't need to do that. Because I'm not upset with him for doing it. It's disgusting. But I'm not upset with him for doing it because that's who he is. He is that person. So I don't get like, oh my God, Donald did it again. No, it's the other folk who prop him up and talk about him like he's the next coming of Christ. Those are the people who are the even further disgusting people. So I really, really want everybody to, when you see stuff like that, and I talked about this last night, call out the elected officials. Call out the people that are part of the administration that allow this to happen. And without checking him. And frankly, as much as it's going on in mainstream media right now, or corporate media right now, those that are in corporate media, they need to say, listen, just press pause in your broadcast and say, listen, Donald Trump, stop doing that. Just say it. And deal with the consequences, but have the guts to say it. And I was listening to Joy Reid on Dino Badala last night talking about how the C-suite is so messed up when it comes to corporate media. All they're concerned about is access. And the stories that they don't get to cover, she said it will blow you away, the stories that we were going to cover that we didn't because the C-suite said, well, we saw that, but we really don't. We saw that we really don't want you, because just have the guts, y'all. Have Don Lemon and Joy Reid kind of guts, and April Ryan kind of guts. To draw the line and say, that's just it's disgusting. You doing that is disgusting. No wonder leaders from other countries that are our allies are laughing at you, because that's disgusting. So I didn't want to just skip by that when I saw it, because although I'm offended by the fact that someone would make that racist meme about anybody, but particularly folks who served this country well for 8 years as president and first lady, it's not their fault that Melania's movie stinks. It's not their fault that Barack has swagger and Donald stumbles. So step up. It's not their fault that Melania's movie stinks and Michelle's movie is #1 on Netflix. How about that, MAGA? Stop living in the garbage can. Get out of the dumpster, y'all, and step up. Let's take a quick break, Henry. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin for the Political Voices Network. This is America, right? We don't do kings here. No crowns, no thrones, no authoritarian cosplay. That's why we created the No Kings American Flag pin. For the low price of $20.26, that's 2026, we're keeping our eye on the prize here. This well-crafted enamel pin is the standard 1-inch American flag lapel pin. But this one features the patriotic No King symbol that defines our rallying cry. It's your quiet way of signaling to other patriots that you believe in democracy, and yeah, that still matters. You can grab yours now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. That's store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. The No Kings American Flag pin. Get it now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com.
This is Richard Chu. WCPT and Heartland Signal's Senate Candidate Forum starts at 1 Central. I'll be there moderating the forum with Joan Esposito and Patty Vasquez. Don't miss it.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered areas of snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times here early today, then a few spotty flurries here late, with cloudy skies and a high into the mid-30s. Winds out of the northwest increase around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. Tonight, decreasing cloud cover, a low near 11. By Saturday, sunshine, high of 24 degrees. Sunday, cloudy, high of 32. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 30.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Richard Chu's got his eyes on the truth. And you're right where you need to be. This is Chu's Views.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show, 773-763-9278. You know, I say this all the time because it's true. It's true. We got fighters on our team, and we're gaining momentum more and more. Folks are out there, putting it on the line. Some more than others, and we know that. But this morning, with us in studio is attorney and longtime ICE watchdog Robert Held, who is he's doing the work, guys. He's out there. He's fighting. He's holding press conferences. He's letting people know. Here's what's going on, and here's what we have got to do about it. So I want to welcome Robert Held to our studio this morning. Good morning, and welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you.
Richard, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here.
Man, I appreciate you coming in. It's funny, when I got up, I check every night before I go to sleep, I check the weather, Okay. All right. Might get a little snow flurry tomorrow morning. Get up. We all do the same. We're Chicagoans, we do that. It's like our nature. And I said, okay, well, it's just wet out. It's not too bad. So Robert will be able to make it in. So we'll be all right. It's good to see you. So, man, you've been busy. Take a moment. Introduce yourself in your way to our audience so they know who you are and what has really been the biggest thing on your windshield these last few months.
Thank you so much again. I'm Robert Held, and I'm an attorney, but I'm not doing so much legal work as I'm doing advocacy. I'm watching ICE. I'm watching Border Patrol. I've been up to Minneapolis. I've been out to Broadview so many times. I've got a lawsuit pending against the Village of Broadview for the restricting our protest hours. I've gone face-to-face with Gregory Bovino and ICE agents. I'm standing up and trying to speak for those that maybe have a voice that's not quite as powerful as mine.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. Last night I was able to hang out with Greg Pallas, film producer and documentarian, talking about voter suppression and the history of it and the cultures that it's been targeted against or toward, and then the importance of how we have to fight and we have to stand up for each other. And the crowd was very, very. They were half of the questions that we got, if not more, probably more like 80%, to be honest. What is it that I can do? How can I get involved? How can I, and when I saw that and heard those questions, it brought me to this moment with you and so many others, actually, that it's about standing up for other folks right now that don't have a voice, that don't have a platform. And even those that do, Don Lemon as an example, we got to stand up for Don because what Don was doing was standing up for other people.
That's right. Don Lemon, Georgia Fort.
Thank you.
Yeah, the journalist up in Minneapolis who was also arrested along at the same time as Don Lemon. It's an attack. It's an attack on our democracy. And you raised up the voting issue. And the voting issue is one issue. We've got so many fronts right now. Federal government took the ballots down in Georgia. There's this intimidation that's pervasive. It's ongoing. And the administration does things not only to potential voters, but journalists themselves, as you point out, which is an intimidation tactic. And they're doing it to protesters like myself, not just firing mace and tear gas and rubber bullets and pepper balls, but are actually arresting protesters who are unarmed and committed no violence, did not impede and did not threaten an agent, and yet they're getting arrested. And I could go on and on.
Well, and you should, because I think that, the television screen or the phone screen or the iPad, the device screen can only show us so much. Being on the ground, our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast will be with us in the 7 o'clock hour. She's been on the ground much of the time of what's going on in Broadview and fighting, on making sure that people were safe and trying to make sure that people had sustenance if they were there for extended. I mean, she's a fighter, and like you, the thing that is most important is you bring it to life. We can only see so much on even the biggest of screens, and so that's why I'm of the mindset, Robert, that we do have to keep talking about it and we do have to keep highlighting it, like you've been doing. To the extent that you can you talk about the lawsuit and what's inside of it? And I know that there's only a certain amount you can talk about, but help us understand a little bit more about.
Well, we got so many different lawsuits going on. I made a reference to the one against the Village of Broadview. You might now be pivoting to the ICE agent that tackled me.
Sorry about that. I should have been more clear. Robert, you take the baton.
Absolutely.
Second leg.
There's so many lawsuits going on, but the one...
And that's sorry, all right. Hold your mo. That's a damn shame. That we say this with a certain amount of humor and levity, but that's a damn shame that we have to have so many lawsuits.
And just to pivot to what happened to me, I was on a public sidewalk. I was filming an ICE agent, and he lost his temper because he didn't like the fact that I had my phone on record. And he tackled me on a public sidewalk. I'm 68 with a bad hip. I'm in decent shape, and I was uninjured. But Renee Good was shot and killed. Alex Preddy was shot and killed. We had Silverio Gonzalez was killed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what happened to me is just an example of the aggressiveness and the lawlessness of the federal agents. But if I can keep going on,
please.
We've got the Vice President of the United States who says that there is absolute immunity for, I'm going to call them thugs. These federal agents are thugs, and their conduct is at times contrary to the law. That's a lawyer's way of saying this thuggery and the criminal behavior of the ICE agents must stop.
So, Robert, this is the question that a lot of folks have been asking all over the place. They've certainly been asking me. I get last night. I'd say 15% of the questions that we got, and even though we were talking about voter suppression, we were also talking about in the context of what ICE is going to be doing. We'll get to that in a second. But a lot of people are asking me, okay, so Richard, because I had the mayor on, and since this was, he'll be on today, Mayor Johnson. What can local? What really is the not purview? What is the standing? Where does local law enforcement have a sort of Mendoza line with what these federal agents, these federal thugs, can be held in account for? Because I think that's where a lot of people are saying, yeah, I've had issues with the police or local law enforcement, but I feel like they're not standing up for us. And I'm not saying me, I'm saying that's kind of and I know you've heard this, so I'm not saying anything you haven't heard, but what is it? I know people are so frustrated around, come on, why don't local law enforcement step in and say, you all can't do that?
They should. They should. I mean, this is not my area of expertise. But the fact is that this ICE agent that on December 27th that tackled me on a public sidewalk committed a crime, and I called 911. And people disagree with me, but I think if you see a crime, if you are the victim of a crime, it doesn't matter if it's a stranger or if it's a federal thug. Call 911. I mean, I think that's the right answer for an individual. Now, on a policy level, I don't think Governor Pritzker has gone far enough. He's got some words, and his words are comforting at times. But right now, for example, we talked about Broadview a little bit, where the federal detention facility is in the Chicago suburb. The state troopers are defending that building. We don't have to cooperate with the thuggery, the criminality of what's going on. So there are things that I think on a policy level can happen. On an individual level, record, use your phone, have the batteries charged up, and record all the time. That is what's turning the tide. And then on a policy level, I think that our governor can do more than what he's done.
I think all of the governor. I mean, listen, when I agree with you, and then my asterisk is, and I think that they all should come together. The Democratic governors, particularly the blue governors throughout every state in the country, should all come together. To me, sometimes the optics. They have they send a message, sometimes a message that gets out ahead of a conversation or a topic, or a message that says we're pushing back. And a good example is last year when some of the schools were like, well, wait a minute, you can't pick. If you pick on them, you're picking on us. I would love to see Governor Pritzker, who I think is doing a wonderful job in so many areas, like all elected officials, even the ones that we love. They ain't perfect. They got work to do, like we all do. And I say that all the time. But I would love to see the Democratic Governors Association of America, as a collective body, and the lieutenant governors, as it were, and the AGs, all hold a big old press conference or a Zoom conference and just say, enough's enough.
Enough's enough.
You come for our people, like Governor Pritzker said, you come for my people. You got to come through me. I want to see more substance to that, but globally.
Yep.
Does that make any sense? I know it took me a while to say that, but that's what I want to see them do.
I'll be honest with you. I myself have not talked about the Second Amendment. Everybody's got the right to carry a gun. But what the government doesn't have the right to do, and I know I'm pivoting a little bit,
it's okay.
but pivoting to, the government has said that they can break into your home without a warrant. That's not true.
Is that Fourth Amendment?
That's right. That's right. Enough is enough. I mean, those words need to resonate with every single American with a conscience.
I want to hear them say words like, we dare you to come. Because then what happens is one of two things will happen. They either will come, and then the local authorities, I think, should be willing to step up. Because what are the federal authorities going to do? they're going to create more of havoc. We know that the other side of this is Trump wants to institute martial law and all. We get all that. But one of the things that's always happened with him is that he tacos out. So right. I think that again, because it hasn't happened yet. I mean, Governor Newsom's done a little bit of it. Governor Pritzker's done a little bit of it. Governor Moore's done a little bit of it. But collectively, because then there won't be this splintering off of the energy and the messaging. That's me. And I know that you have some agreement with that, but enough's enough.
Enough's enough. And the question is, what can each individual do? I mean, that's the question you asked earlier. It's a question on everybody's mind. Because, some of us, can't get out to a protest.
Right.
Some of us, don't have a voice. Some of us don't have legal status in this country. Some of us are less articulate. And the fact is that everyone with a conscience must do something. Now, whether that's getting out to a protest, whether that's recording ICE when you see them, whether that's lending moral support, if you have the resources, maybe that's giving to a charitable organization that's helping the immigrants. But, the one thing that I want to emphasize is that the effects of what's happening, it's not an academic exercise. I see real families that are torn apart, parents not living with their children, children being sent like Liam to Dilley, Texas, where there was a measles outbreak, by the way. I mean, we are in a state where everyone must do something, whatever is within their power, even if it's only lending moral support to those that do have the resources to do more and stand up, speak up, and stand shoulder to shoulder with those resisting this administration.
Without a doubt. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with attorney and longtime ICE watchdog and activist Robert Held, who in fact himself is a personal experience with having been assaulted by an ICE agent, and has now dropped a lawsuit on that incident, as well as one against the township or the community of Broadview, Illinois, where the ICE detention center is located. So, police officers, state police officers, county officials or county law enforcement, using Chicago or this part of Illinois as an example, I think they have a lot of sway. They have a lot more opportunity, I guess, to really kind of rein in these guys, or at least prevent them from doing any more damage. My concern in that is that if they don't, then citizens are going to be more at risk because citizens will take it upon themselves. I don't want to see that. I know you don't want to see that as a human being, as an individual, as a city, as a citizen. But I do worry sometimes in the back of my mind, Robert, that there's going to be that moment. I don't want it to happen. I've been cautioning people for weeks now to not let it happen. But if it does, and you see, 100 citizens show up at a particular place where ICE is armed, as it's their right to be, how do we go?
We're on a bad trajectory. I mean, what you're alluding to is increased violence. And I believe, and it's sad, it's a terrible thing, but it's the truth, more people are going to die. More people are going to get hurt. I've been up at the Whipple building in Minneapolis. The agents come out fully armed, in their tactical gear, and they're antagonistic. Mm-hmm. I've been attacked more than once. We've talked about, what happened on December 27th. That agent's being prosecuted criminally. But I've been sprayed in the face with mace without any cause. I come to protest unarmed, nonviolent, using only my voice. Mm-hmm. First Amendment rights. But what's going to happen is, the administration is putting individual agents at great risk for great bodily harm or death. You break into someone's home, there's a good chance somebody's going to be armed, and they're going to do what they have a legal right to do, which is defend their family and defend their home. As you said earlier, this has got to stop. I don't know how it ends. I hope the ballot box is the answer, but we don't know that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've said on this show a handful of times in recent weeks, and I said it last night at this event with Greg Palast in his movie, that and this is why people, again, I'm going to plug Greg's movie for a second. You've got to get Vigilantes, Inc., because it talks about the history of the police state when it comes to elections. And this is not the first time that we've had this happen, or versions of this. You've been around long enough. You, as a legal mind, know all the cases that are out there that people haven't even talked about, where a certain body or individual sued because of how they were treated based on their voting, and how the voting that was then tied to police state. This is not the first time, y'all. And so the reason that I keep talking about it this way is, we said last night that ICE agents will be showing up at voting locations, and that in and of itself is a form of voter suppression or deterrence. That part there is where I pray to God we don't see it, but that's where I think that we are at risk of seeing other violence, is when we get closer to the election and people start to register to vote. I think that that's going to be another area where ICE will show up, where people go to register before the election. And then as we get closer to the election day, that there'll be more of that. But in all of that, in that concern, in that worry, if you will, we still have to fight forward. We still have to support each other. We still have to do exactly what you said, which is to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and amplified at this current moment. And we don't have any other choice.
Can I just repeat that for emphasis? I mean, just think about that slowly. Immigration's customs enforcement at the voting booth. Border Patrol in Chicago or Minneapolis. We're not near the border. Mm-mm. I mean, what is going on?
Northern or southern border. Go ahead, Robert. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but what's going on is, just if you stop for a second and just think about what the administration is doing in terms of the suppression, the voter suppression, and the intimidation to instill fear. I'm not somebody that has a lot of fear, but, most people look at an armed agent and it creates tension, angst. You want to avoid that. Who wants to, walk up to a voting booth if there's going to be a federal armed, tactical gear clad agent with tear gas and weapons that we don't even recognize? I mean, look at the videos from peaceful protesters, whether it's Portland or Minneapolis or Broadview, and you've got this intimidation, and then the conduct. Let's go to the conduct. Do you see, Dana Briggs, a veteran, gets pushed? It's a famous incident from September, where a veteran who's 71 years old, not in great shape maybe, and is just shoved. But that's just one example. We've got older women. We've got young women. We've got people who are not resisting, and you just see the aggressiveness of the agents, and they're being empowered by Tom Homan and Kristi Noem and the administration. And so I know there's a little bit of a rant, but you got me. You got me going right now.
Listen, you have experienced something that a lot of people haven't experienced. You've been right up close and personal. It's happened to you directly. So rant is a good thing, because it's part of what I try to do with my show is to give folks a vehicle to get some of this stuff out, and in the process of getting things out, being informative, which you have been. And that's why I think when you said earlier about being a voice and helping everybody amplify their voice and others, that is what they're also trying to water down and trying to put out that energy. And this is where you get the Don Lemons getting arrested and others getting arrested, because that if we can get folks that are media people or that are speaking to feel a little less free in their freedom of speech, then we're winning. That's their mindset. That's their mindset, and they've said it. I mean, Stephen Miller has said it in his way. Caroline Leavitt has said it in her way. The Attorney General has said it in her way, that if you push back on our administration, on this president, we're coming after you. We have the right to come after you. So we have to push back, because if we don't, here's the thing. They're going to do what they're going to do anyhow. So we may as well dive in the deep end of the pool and connect to each other. Anybody ever done that? You dive in the deep end of the pool, you hold on to each other, everybody stays afloat.
Yeah. We've got to stand up. It's not just their words, but it's in the conduct. I mean, we see, it's legal to follow a federal agent. It is legal to obey the traffic laws, follow at a safe distance, and trail a federal agent.
You guys, many people, I want you to say that again.
That's
Robert.
legal.
A lot of people think that, and it's that whole standard of, it's the thing that gets thrown on black folks a lot. Well, if you just complied, well, Renee and Alex, they were within their rights to be where they were. So complicity wasn't part of the conversation. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So these things are legal to record, to observe, to blow a whistle, to blow your horn, to alert your neighbors, to stand up, to watch, to document, to bear witness to what is going on. That is completely legal. It's constitutional. And I get emotional and worked up about this because the Constitution is what made and what makes our country great. And when you trample on the Constitution, when the leaders that you mentioned say you can't do that, and when they equate recording and observing with impeding and obstructing, that's a lie.
It's a lie.
That's a damn lie. And they're arresting observers, some of whom are lawyers like myself, who are simply following in a vehicle, recording with their camera, and bearing witness to the criminality of the federal thugs, and they're getting arrested, and that's wrong. It's got to stop. And like I said, every American with a conscience must do something.
Yeah, and the easiest thing, I believe one of the easiest things to do is to talk about it and to not, like I was, again, at this event last night, and a gentleman from WVON radio was there, and he and I were talking offline about and he actually said this to the entire group. You know, the Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. Who gives a blank about the Super Bowl? I mean, we do. People are going to watch it, and we know how we are. And he talked about other things. He said, what we should be paying attention to are the things that are going to cost us our lives. And that's why we have to talk about these things. I know, Robert, I've said this for a long time. We unfortunately, those of us who call ourselves progressive liberal Democrats, are on the right side of justice, folks. You don't have to pick a party, but on the right side of justice. We are right now, real time. We are in some ways dealing with us being too comfortable for a long period of time and not paying attention to the signs along the way. Like you're driving down the road and the sign says bridge might be out. I heard the bridge was out. The bridge is out. Okay, stop. And so those signs that were like, hey, why did we why did we decide to invade certain countries? Why did we do this? And you know the list. I could come up with 1,000 things. And now people are forced to pay attention. But that's a good thing, because with that attention being paid, I believe that folks will continue to be out and protesting and doing what you're doing, which is to represent those unheard of, those smaller voices.
The administration wants us to look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. Do something today. If you're listening, do something. Talk to your neighbor. Read the paper, read the headlines, listen to radio. Watch what is happening. Do not look away. Do not acquiesce. I want to say for sure that we're talking about protests and observing in the administration, but I want to come back to immigrants.
Okay.
It makes me emotional to think about families, moms that are not with their child, parents that are not with their children, children that are being detained. We've got people that have not committed a crime but are in detention, and that's wrong.
Yeah. When I think about Liam, and I think about so many other children that we don't even know about, it just happens that there was a picture of him. But that's one side of it. The other side is all the others that there aren't pictures of. That the same thing happened to.
Up to 400 children a day. This is at most 400 children a day are detained. This is insane. We are in a period of American history where I think historians will look back and just see something that is bleak, dark, terrible, disgusting, and un-American. And it's the administration that is bringing on, putting us on this trajectory. Talked about the road signs. We're there. We are at the cliff. And we don't want to go over it, but I think if everybody does something, we can avoid further deaths and the catastrophe that I think is a potential.
Yeah, without a doubt. Robert Held, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Active attorney and longtime ICE observer and an obstructionist, y'all, that said, listen, man, you push me down, you got to deal with the consequences. And I make light of that because we appreciate the fact that you have stood up. I was listening to one of my favorite songs. It's a gospel song by a guy, Donnie McClurkin. It's called We Fall Down, But We Get Up. And that's where we are right now. You know, we've slipped, we've fallen down in some cases, we've been knocked down, but we get back up again. So thank you for getting back up again and fighting.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to talk with you, and you're fighting the good fight, and it's an honor to be with you.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. We'll have you back.
I love it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's go to a break, Henry. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Thomas Edison invented the first light bulb, but however, did you guys know that Lewis Howard Latimer, a black man, improved upon it? That's right. Latimer's light bulb was made to last longer than Edison's. Latimer later sold that light bulb to the U.S. Electric Company in 1881, making light bulbs more accessible and affordable to the community. Here are some light bulb companies that support the Democratic Party. Philips Light Bulbs. Philips supports the Democratic Party very highly. In 2024, Philips donated over $400,000 to Democratic candidates in 2024. GE, General Electric. GE roughly is about 50-50 split with candidates they donate to. In 2024, 54% of GE's donations went to the Democratic Party, including $159,000 to Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. Hey, you guys want to hear a joke? How many Republicans does it take to change a light bulb? None! Donald Trump just says it's fixed and they all sit in the dark and applaud. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Krishnamurthy, Kelly, and Stratton are the candidates. Joan Esposito, Patty Vasquez, and me, Richard Chu, are the moderators. WCPT's Senate Candidate Forum is today at 1 Central.
File now with TurboTax and Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. A Minneapolis man has been arrested for posting threats and encouraging violence against immigration officers. The AP's Jennifer King has more.
Federal authorities allege Kyle Wagner threatened to kill Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers in posts on social media. The 37-year-old Minneapolis man faces charges of cyber stalking and threats against federal agents. Attorney General Pamela Bondi alleges that Wagner doxed and threatened officers. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says such conduct won't go unpunished.
The Department of Homeland Security arrested this individual. He is a self-proclaimed Antifa member who has been threatening, doxing, harassing ICE. He called for the murder of federal law enforcement officers. He encouraged bloodshed in the streets of Minnesota.
According to prosecutors, Wagner repeatedly posted on Facebook and Instagram encouraging his followers to forcibly assault and impede federal officers, whom he referred to as the Gestapo. He's also accused of doxing a pro-ICE individual online and sharing personal information online. The address in that case was in Michigan, and that's where the criminal complaint was filed.
Today's show host, Savannah Guthrie's family is sending out another message to their mother's kidnapper. On a post to Savannah Guthrie's social media, her brother Cameron Guthrie shared this message.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Authorities think Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will from her home in Tucson, Arizona over the weekend. DNA tests show blood found on Guthrie's front porch was a match to her. World shares were mixed today after Wall Street extended losses, driven by heavy selling of technology stocks. This is AP News. AP correspondent Lawrence Brooks reports on an explosion at a mosque in Pakistan's capital.
A massive bombing has ripped through a Shiite mosque on the outskirts of Islamabad, killing at least 31 worshippers and wounding nearly 100 people. Officials say the explosion at the sprawling mosque in Pakistan's capital was an attack and that an investigation is underway. Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi has condemned the attack and asked authorities to ensure the provision of the best medical care to the wounded. No one has immediately claimed responsibility, but suspicion is likely to fall on militants such as the Pakistani Taliban or the Islamic State group, both of which have been blamed for previous attacks on Shiite worshippers, a minority in the country. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
More on this story at apnews.com. I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered areas of snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times here early today, then a few spotty flurries here late, with cloudy skies and a high into the mid-30s. Winds out of the northwest increase around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. Tonight, decreasing cloud cover, a low near 11. By Saturday, sunshine, high of 24 degrees. Sunday, cloudy, high of 32. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 30.
Horwitz and Associates. Cliff Horwitz's grandfather started this family law firm, and he always said, you know what, if we're going to get full justice for our clients, we have to go to trial. Trial, though, can be very time-consuming, and that's why most firms won't go to trial. They just settle for the insurance company's offer. But the Horwitz family spent a century going to trial. They're taking cases to trial now, and they're winning many record-setting verdicts. Cliff Horwitz is a third-generation trial lawyer, getting people the full justice they deserve. Call 312-800-8000 or go to horwitzlaw.com.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
He's not here to yell. He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot. This is Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Yes, the pot is stirring. You hear that scraping in the bottom. That's me just making sure that the sledgehammer is making contact. And I do. I recommend everybody go out and buy a sledgehammer this weekend. Why not? I mean, why in the heck not? Go get one and put it at the back door or the front door, and let that be one of your motivators every day. I'm gonna do as John Lewis asked us to do, and that's cause some good trouble. Greg Palast has been just such a champion when it comes to his work and his latest movie, Vigilantes, Inc., America's new voter suppression hitman, is fabulous, and you will appreciate the work that he's done. It's narrated by actress Rosario Dawson, and he gives lots of thanks to both Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio. So I'm going to give away a copy of the movie. And here, for the first caller, and Henry will grab your information, whoever is the first person to answer this question gets a copy of the movie. What's the name of the physician, African-American physician, and I wanted it, since it's Black History Month, that was the African-American physician that attempted to treat President Garfield when he was shot in the train station? What's the name of that physician who attempted to treat and subsequently to treat President Garfield when he was shot in the train station? And it's an African-American physician that's known well for something that he went on to develop that became a major part of our medical process and treatment throughout, actually not the U.S., but the rest of the world. I'm giving you lots of clues. Somebody will figure it out. Looking forward to hearing from you. Give us a call at 773-763-9278. Mike or Henry will grab your information, and we'll get you a copy. And if there's a tie, I got a couple. We'll give a couple away. So that being said, it's Friday, and Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast is in studio, hanging out with me with a big old smile on. And welcome to the show. How you been? How you been?
Great. Great.
2 weeks ago when Karen was going to be in, we were all like, all of us were, let's all be careful. Because y'all remember, it was colder than a well digger's rear end in Montana.
AF, as the kids say, right?
It was. It was cold. I mean, yeah.
It was.
I remember, it was cold. It was cold that day.
Yeah.
So.
And see, now, if it was left to me, I would have absolutely come in. But my husband's like, the place that he works out in Milwaukee has a big fleet of trucks. Does a lot of electronics and stuff. I'm not going to say the name of the company. But they were all shut down. Like, they weren't doing deliveries. They weren't doing any service calls or nothing. So he was like, I don't think it's a good idea because you don't want to be stuck somewhere and have your car not start.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, I better listen.
And I would have given you a jump if it had happened here, but that's not the issue.
That's not.
I know. So I'm glad you stayed safe that day. As I had said to so many people, if you don't have to be out, then don't be out. But so good to see you. And,
great to see you. Can I just say, first of all, happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. You guys do an amazing job, and I am so grateful and blessed to have been a part of this. And so I thank you because, you have given me the platform to come and vent and, and say what I have to say, and then also just propping me up and, helping me promote my podcast, TruBlu Politics podcast, and all of and just giving me an opportunity to talk about the things that I'm doing out in the streets, and
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
You're a great friend, and we're a pretty dynamic team when we get together, and that's one of the things that I enjoy. You, me, Natalie, when we are together, we got to get Natalie back in.
We do.
That's 2 weeks from now. I'll let you run that. I'll stay out of it.
Okay.
But let's get her back in.
She just got a new job, though.
I know. I saw that.
So we'll have to work around her schedule.
I know.
Yeah, she's gonna be a busy lady.
She's all fancy now.
Apparently, a lot of travel.
Yeah. So putting her business in the street. Look at you and me. But Karen, listen, you have been a champion in this space for so many people. Your podcast has been great. People know your sort of your call-in name of Karen from Chicago when you call in Stephanie Miller's show. But I give you your flowers as well because you've been a fighter in this process. And I've said to so many people that that's what it takes, is that we all have to be willing to get past the things that we might think we should be afraid of and be afraid of the thing that is already there.
Right.
I'm less afraid of what somebody's going to say about me for speaking my truth. I'm like Don Lemon in that regard. I'm not afraid. I don't give a damn.
No, and
but it's the people that are doing the harm that so to that point, this is where I come back to you and give you your kudos for your hard work and your commitment and your partnership and your friendship. So thank you as well.
Thanks. Yeah. No, and I mean, I feel like the fight is kind of reflexive. It's, it's like we have to act and not react, but it's reflexive, right? I mean, it's just like when you are, and I'm going to say that this is inherent in people on the left, that we are empaths. We are empathetic, and for the most part, I think that we quiet ourselves enough to listen to people's testimonies and hear what they're going through and then act accordingly. That's all. It's just like, my parents raised me right, I guess, I'm grateful to them as well, and all of the wonderful people, adults in my life I'm saying one growing up, right? Because am I an adult? And my kids give me, inspire me, and grandkids. And so, I just feel like we all have to be in the fight together because there's a lot at stake and we're doing it for the next generations, right?
Well, and here's the thing, we also have to be aware of, and I guess somewhat compliment ourselves. We're doing it for us. I ain't planning on going anywhere for 30 years.
Yeah,
my goal is to
is
split the difference between my mother and father's length of time, which means I'm going to make it to 90.
Okay.
If I split the difference between my mom and dad made it to 87, mom made it to 93, 90's the middle. That's almost 30 years from now. So we're doing it for us too, and this is what I want us to remember. And I'm not correcting what you said. I'm adding to it. We are doing it for our grandchildren and our grandnieces and our grandnephews and all the rest. but we're doing it for us.
Of course.
You and I plan on
Absolutely.
being here another good 25 to 30 years.
Right.
That's a long time.
Right. I mean, it's going to take that long maybe to turn this ship around.
Listen,
with a P.
she did. Listen, and what I want to say behind that is, Karen and I. Listen. This is what's so fun.
Henry's like,
he was. I know he raised up. You saw him. He came up a little bit in his chair, like, "Oh Lord, here she goes." But see, I am so grateful to be able to dial it back because. Kurt Mullet and I talk about this because, off show or whatever, he and I are spectacularly salty. You and I are spectacularly salty. And Michelle and I are, Eric and I, and we have to tone it down to be on the air. I say that because we know how frustrated, how freaking frustrated and angry and PO'd folks are.
Yeah.
So that is another reason or part of the reason why we have to be willing to communicate with each other and get it out. And then, like I said earlier, on one side of this, I'm saddened about it.
Yeah.
On the other side, I'm angry as hell about it. So what's in the middle? I've got to pull those two together to carve a path forward to get stuff done. And in the process of doing that, it doesn't mean I'm less angry.
Right.
Hopefully, I will become less angry with the force and the success of what we do. But I'm sure as hell not going to be silent and quiet. That's why I love what Don. I love Don Lemon's head tilt when people were asking him like, what he's like, please.
What are you going to do? You're going to, skulk off like the Republicans and hide and, and like have, that is just like profiles in cowardice.
It is.
They know exactly who this person is. They know, and the Epstein elite, that is who they are protecting. That is all they're doing is protecting the Epstein elite.
And to that end, I know I sent you this article. Here's the headline of the article. And it's written by our good friend Sarah Jones from The Daily. Hillary Clinton shows James Comer that he's made a massive mistake.
Oh, yeah.
And see, listen, y'all, what people have said, who's in the Epstein files. Let's break that down. Savannah Guthrie's in the Epstein files.
There are people mentioned.
But they're mentioned in it because they may, for whatever reason.
Right.
That doesn't, I'm less concerned about who's in the Epstein files, and more concerned with the evidence of what they did that's criminality and craven and ugly.
Right.
That's the real meat of this conversation. It's not who's in the Epstein files.
Right.
That's like saying who was in, what was it, Hoover's files.
Right.
There's people that were in there, but they were being surveilled, but not even in Hoover's craziness, doing anything bad or wrong.
Exactly.
Coretta Scott King's in the Hoover files.
Right.
Because she's the wife of late Dr. So you get my point.
I do.
Let's stop focusing on that. But Hillary and Bill are about to drop all that legal, what's the word, elite knowledge.
Both of them have testified under oath.
Hillary's
of them have been deposed.
Got more stamina than I do.
OG
in that
was
space.
I watched every minute of the 11 hours that she did, and she had one bathroom break, and she shut that.
Stuff down. It begins with an S and ends with a T. And so it's about to happen again. And that's why they're smart enough to make it public that they want it to be public.
Right.
And then if the Republicans don't want to, then they're the ones that are trying to hide.
We're willing.
Something.
We have nothing to hide.
Come on, bring it.
We will sit and turn those cameras on and let's do this.
Let's go. And Bill slowed down a little bit from what he used to be, but when he has to rally, he knows how to rally.
Absolutely. And I think every single Democrat that asks them the question, they should say, thank you for being here. Madam Secretary, we're not sure why you're here since, you never spent any time with Jeffrey Epstein or you never went to the island, never, you're being dragged into this. We're so sorry. But, it's just like because the First Lady should be here because she's actually... Come
on, Kara, stop being that way.
And the president should be here testifying because they actually were mentioned.
The attorney general should be here.
They were on the plane. They were on the island. The attorney general, Barr.
Yeah. And the current and Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi too. She covered it up for him the first time she got him that sweetheart.
The dude that was what was it? Alex, whatever his name was. You all know who I'm talking about. The guy in Florida. That helped Epstein get the sweet deal. Anyhow.
Yep.
I can't wait to see this happen. Let me do some business. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT here in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and with us today is our great friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast, also known as Karen from Chicago, hanging out with me here in studio and yucking it up about how we are looking forward to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton showing what it's like to be a good attorney and be questioned by some knuckleheads.
Right.
Because I don't know who will be doing the majority of the questioning, but they're going to run circles around Comer. They just are. He couldn't even answer the question the other day about the agents and what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed. None of them are really capable of the pushback from an intelligent, well-heeled, experienced attorney, former president, former first lady, secretary of state.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Alex Acosta.
That's who I was thinking.
Yep.
Thank you.
I know. I was like, what is the guy's name? Yeah. So, but this is what I see happening. This is what they're going to try to do to Bill. You lied under oath before.
Yeah, come on.
You lied under oath before. What's to say that you're not lying to us now? And that's all
they're going to bring up Monica.
Wait. That's what it's going to be.
They're going to drag Monica, the history of Monica Lewinsky and the other women. They're going to say, well, it's that. Just a bunch of pieback.
Just expect that. Everybody out there, just expect
prepare yourself
that is coming.
And to the extent that that's going to happen, they're going to be. It won't surprise me one bit if one of the GOPs, the true guardians of pedophiles, doesn't ask Mrs. Clinton a question around why didn't you leave him? Y'all think I'm crazy. You all think I'm crazy. They're going to be. There's somebody that's going to touch.
Oh yeah,
did
they're
you
going to try
Did you ever
touching that
consider
third rail.
when all this came out that it was to end your marriage with your cheating husband? Somebody's going to ask that question.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Why don't you get the first lady here and ask her the same question under oath?
See, this
why don't you do that?
This is why Karen and I. One of the reasons why I shouldn't say entirely, but one of the reasons why Karen and I and folks like Eric, we're just don't mess with us, because that's how I would come back and say, well, when you bring in the current first lady, then we'll have a conversation. That'd be my standard response.
That is not relevant to these proceedings right now, and unless and until you get the first lady in here and put her under oath.
And as fact, I would go as far as having some pictures in my thing, and I'd say, well, this is who you should bring in, and it'd be the picture of her with Donald and Epstein at wherever the hell they were.
Right.
That's how I would play it.
Show me any picture that looks like this that includes me.
Me, right.
Right.
And you won't find any.
No.
Yeah. That's how, yeah. Karen just rolled her eyes for y'all that couldn't see it. She rolled them.
You didn't hear that?
She rolled them hard, crashed into the side of her brain. Her brain's like, come on now. I just had the first couple sips of coffee and you're rolling your eyes that hard this early in the morning?
You get stuck.
Yeah. But that's where we are. We make light of it because that I think is as part of our medicine for this. We do have to we have to make light of it in some ways, but as part of that is also our support for our team, our bench, our people who ain't perfect. System needs to change. People in the system need to change. All of that. Eric talks about that, has been talking about that a lot, that the system is broken. And it is. To fix the system, we got to get the people out of the system that are mucking it up.
Right.
And then we go about fixing the system. That they have to work together. But the system's broken.
Yeah.
All of our systems are broken right now.
And let's just, again, we have to constantly be, I do, bring myself back. We have got to remember the victims and the survivors of this.
Yeah.
This is global. And, already we're seeing international repercussions with the prime minister. And
they raided Musk's office
they raided,
because they got information. And the French authorities we don't care about you, punk.
No.
We don't care.
We're
taking your
we're
stuff.
not America.
No.
Right.
They almost said that.
Yeah.
We came and got your stuff because we can come get your stuff.
That's right.
So you notice where he's not hanging out right now in France.
Mm-hmm. Well,
see?
I mean, I just, we have got to beat this down. We have got to beat these people down. And we have to stand up for the people who have been oppressed. We have to and have been victimized by the Epstein elite. And I keep calling them the Epstein elite. And I don't care what kind of, what side of the political spectrum you're on. If you raped children and sexually assaulted and abused women, then you should not be in the position that you're in.
And sharing a bunk with Bubba and Jesus.
That's right.
Somewhere.
And who is Bubba? Who's Bubba?
Not that Bubba, but a different one.
The one that Trump supposedly would.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
I know. So, Karen, it's Black History Month, and I know that there's some things that you have said people should be mindful of, but one of them, a couple of things are the things that people shouldn't be saying. So I'm going to read these phrases to you, and then let's get your take on it. Okay. 5 things white people should stop saying right now. The first one: any version of "this isn't America" or "this isn't who we are." Number 1. We are all immigrants, or this nation was built by immigrants. Any version of ICE needs better training. Come on, I got 2 more. 2 more. I'm almost there, y'all. Stay with me. Calling for unity and peace, but not justice. And focusing on civil discourse. So take any one of the 5 that you would agree or have some observations about white people should stop saying right now.
White people should just shut up. And listen when you are in the presence and listening, and hearing other people's lived experiences. We need to start thinking, we need to be thinking more about how our actions and our words impact the communities that we say that we care about.
Yeah.
And that is my biggest thing, and it's just quiet yourself enough to hear what other people are saying, and I mean, this, and I, again, the fact that Renee Good was murdered, Alex Preddy was murdered by the federal government. There are people of color. Keith Porter was also murdered. There are people, the gentleman in Franklin Park that was murdered.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a long list of people, and these are just the people that we've heard about that have died in ICE custody, or because of ICE's actions, their criminality. And so this is, if we need any more evidence that we do not value Black lives and brown lives on an equal basis, it's the fact that everything in the news has been about, and not that it shouldn't be. It should be in the news also, but we should also be talking about these people, the families that have been decimated by this government, the people whose lives have been torn apart, the heads of household. When you look at that CCOT video, and if you have not seen that video, the segment on 60 Minutes that they tried to suppress, you need to watch it. This is who we are. When Rachel Maddow was talking about their attempts to open prisons, concentration camps all throughout this country, this isn't about deportation.
No, it's not.
This is about incarceration for profit.
Yep.
That's what this is about, and it's been going on forever and disproportionately against the Black community.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we have got to be honest about this. This has been going on for a long time. And when Black people and brown people tell you that this has been happening, believe it.
Yeah, we've been saying it for a little bit of time. And, and so I wanted to get your take on that. I came across this piece, and this is something that I felt like you have a different take on it than a lot of people, which your take is also so informative, which is just listen.
Just listen. And I mean, look, okay. And I'm just going to say, and with much respect and with love, I'm going to push back a little bit. I agree with everything that Robert, the attorney that you had on, said. Okay, with the majority of it, I appreciate his work, and I know it's like what compels him to do that. But I am going to say that having been at the town halls, having been at Broadview, living right there in like right across the tracks from the facility, and having our summer with helicopters constantly overhead, military helicopters overhead. And we are, Broadview is a predominantly black and brown community. We had chemical munitions deployed constantly every Friday, Saturday, during the day, during the night. We had our road, access to our neighborhoods shut down because of, some of the after hours protests. My understanding with Mayor Thompson was that the residents were asking her to put some limits on the protesting. And that's why they implemented the hours. She had Kristi Noem showing up at her door.
Yeah.
Okay. We were able to have a first aid tent there. They gave us that permission. They granted the permission. It was my understanding that the local police and the state police and the county police were there to act as a buffer. Okay. Now he framed it as they're guarding that building. I don't know if that is the case. All I know is that when I was there, they were acting as like enforcing that curfew that was put in place. You can protest at Broadview 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. And I know that a lot of people were saying, but what if we work until 5 o'clock, then we don't get to come and protest. Nothing good happens after dark.
Yeah.
And I don't know the only good that does is having a standoff with the state police that are trying to enforce the curfew, in my opinion. Okay, and from my observations, you do not want to be there without the state police there or the county police there, because what was happening prior to that was these MFers were rampaging on people that were out there after dark.
Yeah, they were.
They were rampaging during broad daylight, too.
They were being what everybody feared they would be, and that is this, this label of Gestapo. They would just be without any restraints.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is where the delicacy, and I'm going to talk to Mayor Johnson about this, and we'll bring this up because of the order that he signed, which is we'll get into it when he's on. But I just wanted to have that moment to share that with you. I think that, the things that people should stop saying are clear, and there's many, many more. But one of the biggest ones is that this is not America. This isn't who we are.
Please, this is who we've never moved to.
No, we haven't.
No. We elected a black man as president, and then,
people lost their damn
holy
minds.
Moly. Yeah, people just completely lost their minds.
Karen, we got to take a break because it's that time, and then we got to get the mayor on. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
This is exactly where we are. This is how we got here because Joe Biden would not play that game. And, Obama did not play that game. We certainly didn't give them the clown show that Trump does. This is why I keep trying to tell people, it's not the show. Don't take the rage bait. Don't be part of the show. This is how he got elected again. These people want him in there because he makes them money. He gives them fame. Everybody's paying attention right now. They didn't pay attention when Biden was in office, and he was getting so much done. But they didn't pay attention because it wasn't a clown show. There wasn't the opportunity for them to, cover him and put on a little show of standing up to him for a second and then become famous and write a book.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
King County deserves leadership that understands our community because it's been a part of who I am. I have spent more than 2 decades serving King County, rising through the ranks of the sheriff's office to become undersheriff. From day one, I've worked to protect our neighborhoods while treating people with dignity, fairness, and respect. I know that real public safety is about more than responding to calls. It's about building trust. I believe public safety works best when law enforcement and the community work together through transparency, accountability, and the responsible use of resources. As Sheriff of Kane County, I will focus on strengthening community partnerships, supporting mental health collaboration, and ensuring the Sheriff's Office is prepared to meet today's challenges while planning responsibly for tomorrow's needs. This election, choose leadership you can trust. Vote Amy Johnson for Kane County Sheriff, moving public safety forward.
Paid for by friends of Amy Johnson.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered areas of snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times here early today, then a few spotty flurries here late, with cloudy skies and a high into the mid-30s. Winds out of the northwest increase to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. Tonight, decreasing cloud cover, a low near 11. By Saturday, sunshine, high of 24 degrees. Sunday, cloudy, high of 32. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 30.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
And we are back. 773-763-9278 is the number. This is Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. It's Friday, first Friday of the month, and that means that our mayor of the great city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is hanging out with us this morning. Good morning, Mayor Johnson, and welcome back to the show.
Hey, good morning, Brother True. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, I have a request, and it's not to fix a pothole on my street, but when are you going to turn the temperature back up, man?
Yeah, man. You know, we got a little bit of some reprieve, right?
Yeah, we did.
January was certainly cold, man. But yeah, that's the one area of my mayoralship that I have not quite figured out yet, like how to shorten the season of winter so that we can have summertime shy a little bit longer. I tell you what, if I do figure that out, that certainly would put
Keep
me
it
in a
quiet.
much stronger
Yeah, if
position.
you figure that out, don't tell anybody. Tell your wife and don't let it out of the house.
That's right.
Because if you were a target now, you will be the biggest target on the planet. But I joke, but we know it's Chicago, and as you said it so well, we are built differently here. And with all our imperfections, those of us who are not in office and those like you who are and know what you signed up for, we're built differently. Appreciate your leadership. Know you've been catching hell, but you know that's what you signed up for, and you know that's what you're fighting for. So I just wanted to, right out of the gate, let you know that and turn the temperature up when you get turn the thermostat up when you get a chance.
Well, thank you for that. It's a good opportunity, though, seriously, to just thank all of the women and men who show up for this city every single morning throughout the night. We have deployed 250 salt spreaders every time we've had a chance to respond to the ice and to the snow. Making sure that there are warming centers for individuals who are unhoused. So there are a lot of Chicagoans who are showing up for Chicagoans every single day to make sure that we can get to work, that, our trains, our buses, and again, our streets, dealing with the unhoused. So that's just a real good opportunity for us to thank city workers.
Without a doubt. And we appreciate that. So you did the thing that a lot of people had been somewhat asking for, or at least curious about, with this recent executive order with regard to ICE and their behavior. Earlier in the show, I had on attorney Robert Held, who filed a lawsuit. He was pushed down by an ICE agent, and he filed a lawsuit, and now that's going forward. But you basically said, and I know this is, the state's attorney's office had to dip their toe in the water as well, that ICE is, they got to be held accountable for their bad behavior when it takes place in the city of Chicago. So help our listeners know more about the thing that you did and why you did it.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the why we did it, I think, is important to just elevate. We have seen in Chicago and throughout this country, federal agents work and behave outside of the confines of the Constitution. And it's certainly no secret here how, we have pushed back, right? The president of the United States of America said that, Chicago is going to find out why we changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, like literally have declared war on the city of Chicago. And with that, we saw, a father dropping his children off to school, was shot and killed. And then they lied about it by a federal agent. A woman was shot multiple times, 5 times, Miramar Martinez. Thank God she survived that. But once again, they lied about it, and they, just put all these charges against her and later had to drop them. And so the bottom line is this, Richard, is that, despite what the vice president of this country said, despite what the president has said, no one gets to work with absolute immunity in this country. And so I signed an executive order to create a pathway for accountability to these rogue, reckless ICE and federal agents. And what I have directed my police department to do is to collect evidence in the event where, criminal misconduct is taking place or criminal conduct is taking place, to preserve that evidence, to also make sure that we know who the supervisor is on the scene, to, use their body cams to preserve, as well as to ensure that evidence that could be used to bring charges, that is available. And then ultimately, we will make a decision if the evidence is worthwhile passing on to the state's attorney, which at that point, that is her jurisdiction, and she can decide to pursue criminal charges with those cases like she does any other case. And the other last thing is to make sure that there's medical care on scenes in the event someone gets hurt. We saw in Minnesota the incredibly violent acts against Renee Good and Alex, and the lack of care that we saw was just, absolutely abhorrent. And so, again, this is an executive order to create a pathway for accountability.
And it's necessary. And I think that, people were saying, well, and I've asked this question so many times and I've gotten varied answers, but at the end of the day, the one thing that's common is we all want to see our local law enforcement as much issue as people have with local law enforcement, and not just here in Chicago, in the county and state and throughout other cities in the country. We still know that they are there to serve and protect. And that serve and protect doesn't just mean, or it's not written exclusively, serve and protect us from each other. It's a serve and protect, and that sentence is unending. So if it's protecting us from these thugs, then that's part of their job as well. And I know that, you've embraced the fact that people are asking for some sort of protection and all that. And you delivered, at least by saying, let's collect the evidence. Let's make sure that they know they're going to be held accountable. And it's not too dissimilar from what the governor said, if I remember how this was written, that they wanted with the accountability initiative, that it's all about someday they're not going to be in power. And we need to have collected the data and the information so that we have what we need to take the necessary steps, if they're legal steps that we have to take.
Yeah, look, we're all on the same page, I believe, as a political party, right? And, I'm very encouraged by what the district attorney in Philadelphia is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Krasner, organizing district attorneys and state's attorneys around the country to really formulate a coalition. I just returned from the U.S. Conference of Mayors last week in D.C., where Democrats and Republicans are really aligned around how it's at the front door of mayors that have to confront this. And so this is certainly, obviously, putting us in a position for potential future prosecution. But, someday is not the ideal destination, right? Because someday could be any day beyond today. And so what the people of Chicago have asked me to do, are there authorities that I can institute today that will create a pathway to accountability? And that's exactly what we've done. And again, this does not direct the state's attorney to do anything other than what the state's attorney's office typically does, which with evidence her office can decide if she is going to pursue prosecution. This just simply ensures that our police officers are very clear about what they need to do, because, having individuals record on scene, that's powerful. But we have to use every force of government to ensure that the people who believe that they can behave with impunity, that day is over.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that you have taken this step. If ICE were to escalate, and escalation, I don't know what the real definition or meaning of that is now, but in the city of Chicago, in terms of increasing their numbers, maybe that's a definition, or certainly prove themselves to be as craven as they are. What's the city prepared to do? What's the city as a organization, your office, your administration prepared to do? And what is CPD prepared to do? I don't know how much you can disclose.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, first of all, I'm going to encourage Chicagoans to keep doing what we do best, and that's participating in our democracy and peacefully protesting the unlawful, unjust, and dangerous occupation of ICE in our cities. That work has to continue. There are conversations that are being held around a more sophisticated response in terms of making sure that people are trained trained in order to resist and to do it peacefully. As you know, Richard, during the civil rights era, that entire movement was not happenstance. It wasn't coincidental. There were highly sophisticated operations that were instituted, and that work is being done as well. And then I'm going to continue to do everything in my power to ensure that the constitutional rights are protected and that this administration is held to account. And again, that means exploring more executive orders to protect the people of this city, litigation, which we have joined in with the Attorney General's office with affirmative litigation. But that also means, legislation. But it really is going to require all of us at every single level of government, the business community, the faith community, all of us, the labor, to come together to resist this tyrant. And so that's why this executive order was put in place, because we are anticipating a potential surge in the spring, and we want to be as ready as we possibly can. These are unprecedented times. There's no playbook for it. No one has a specific answer. And so, look, the feedback that I've received is based upon the need for the residents of Chicago to know that we are doing everything in our power to protect people. And that's what I'm going to continue to do.
And I know that that's what people like you and Mayor Bass and Mayor Scott and names of Mayor Wu, so many are, that you recognize that there's no playbook. So you've got to be willing to look at all your arsenal and say, how do we deploy this when things go to the next level? And I fully agree that once we get through the fact that you haven't turned the temperature up yet, and we get into spring and the summer, that we're going to see some escalation, and that concerns me. But it's good to hear that you're ready to deploy the resources that you have.
Well, Richard, and to the point that you just made, or the names that you just mentioned, for whatever it's worth, Chicago should just know that we are leading the way. So the measures that we put in place, other cities are adopting them. Yeah. It's not like we're putting measures in place and other cities are putting other measures in place, and we're sort of cross-pollinating to the extent in which there are ideas that we have embraced from other cities. What I'm simply getting at is that we know that other cities and other counties are instituting ICE-free zones. We have a city council member in Philadelphia just introduced legislatively the executive orders that I put forward, right? And so, people are looking to Chicago for answers, and that's an incredible responsibility, but it's one that we have embraced.
That is the leadership of the city, of the people, and certainly of your office and administration. So again, I go back to, we appreciate that you're using that arsenal to the best of your ability. One of the other big conversations right now, as you well know, and it probably keeps you awake at night, is how we really are navigating and where we're going with our budget. Bring us up to speed and what's happening, and what the blind spots might be that you're trying to deal with our city's budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, 98% of my original budget is what we got through. Um, it's disappointing to say the least that a large number of alders, would rather seek private debt collectors after working people than ask the largest corporations to pay their fair share in taxes. All of our investments in youth employment, community safety, affordable housing, mental health care, all that made it through the budget process. Just this week we officially made a $500 million investment in our public schools. It's the largest investment in our public schools in the history of Chicago. And so that part I'm still encouraged by. And so the challenge, though, that we have is that there are projections that a large number of alders made around revenue, and I'm going to continue to monitor, our revenue flow, and if that revenue flow doesn't match the projections that a large number of alders put forward, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. But just know that, again, the things that we're doing to build safe and affordable communities, that is very much still a part of this budget. And I'm grateful that families all over the city of Chicago will benefit from the largest investment from the city of Chicago in our public schools in the history of Chicago, that working people will benefit from that. And that was a fight worth fighting. And I stood firm on my values to ensure that our public schools and our public institutions would be fully funded, that we're still building, affordable homes, that all of that work is still happening. And the overestimation, as far as we're concerned, of the budget projections that the large group of alders put forward, I'm going to have to monitor it and lead with strong conviction. But absolutely, Richard, I'm still very much concerned about the potential loss of revenue because of how the last 2% of the budget was crafted.
Yeah, we understand. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson about a little bit of everything. And I've teased him about why he has not turned the temperature up yet in the city of Chicago. But one of the things that he has definitely done is kept his commitment about housing and working to do more to provide more housing and better housing for folks throughout the city of Chicago. Mayor Johnson, talk a little bit about the 95th Street housing project that is taking place here in Chicago.
Yeah, thank you for raising that. Again, my goal is to build the safest, most affordable big city in America, to have a safe city, but people can't afford to live here. That doesn't do anything for us. Average price of a home in New York is $1.1 million, over $900,000 in the city of Los Angeles. And I know both of those mayors are working to address that. But at the same time, if you can afford to live here, but you don't feel safe, that doesn't do anything for us either. And so the 95th Street housing project, it's an RFP, is just another step towards repopulating the west and south sides of Chicago. And so this investment will bring new housing and economic development to the Roseland community. We've worked hard to attract housing and affordable housing in communities that have been historically disinvested in. And so for decades, we've had, neighborhoods overlooked by city government. And so what this project, what we're doing here is turning the page on decades of disinvestment in Roseland. Many people know that the Red Line is going to be extended. We reopened the mental health clinic in Roseland. Over 100,000 people have been seen since we've opened these mental health clinics. And so as we confront the housing crisis head on, it's investments like this create pathways for longtime residents, and particularly Black and Brown communities, to ultimately stay in their neighborhood. And of course, again, I can't underscore enough the transit-oriented development is a real critical piece of our administration's work because, again, we want to increase ridership, but we want to make sure that as we are building affordable communities, that we are ensuring that full wraparound services, again, whether it's our schools, mental health clinics, grocery stores, shopping centers, but people have to be able to move. And that's why transit-oriented development is so critical in this moment.
And more people are starting to see that the city's propping itself up, and the leadership, your administration, even the county officials, everybody's trying to lean in to have these projects, for there to be more of these projects, and for these projects to see themselves to fruition. So this is really good news in the face of a conversation that a lot of people throw words at in terms of affordability and housing's too expensive. But what are the real plans? What are the projects that are going into play so that we actually can make a dent and then have that dent be a sustainable one when it comes to housing and affordability? Give us some more thoughts about that in terms of real things that are sustainable.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, these can't be one-offs, right? And so this is why you have to have a comprehensive plan. And look, safety is the top priority. It's the work that we do every single day. And one homicide, one shooting, one act of violence is one too many. We are still moving in the right direction. A long way to go, Richard. And when you talk about the city being propped up again, our airports, particularly O'Hare now, is the busiest airport in the country. And you know what I go for? Look, I go for world records, right? We're Chicago. We've for several years in a row, we've been the top corporate relocator for their headquarters. We're poised to do that again. We're voted the best big city in America. We had the busiest summer we've ever had in the history of Chicago. 3.5 million people came to Chicago. And that's at a time in which travel had shifted, right? Because of what the Trump administration is doing. And so when we talk about sustainability, and particularly around housing, it's the full package, right? Where we, create opportunities for developers to actually participate in the, expansion of affordable housing. I talk a lot about my bond investment. It's a $1.25 billion, Richard. It's the largest in the history of Chicago. And the reason why I'm lifting that up is because, progressives, we there's a rap about us. Can progressives lead, right? Can they lead and, bring violence down? Well, in Chicago, yes. Can they lead and spear economic development? Are they going to be friendly to business? Yes, right? The busiest airport, 6 cranes in the air, 18 that are confirmed, and we're just getting started. The 1901 project on the west side of Chicago, well, there's going to be extensive expansion over there by the Reinsdorfs and the Wirtz family outside the United Center, which is going to include affordable housing. We are revamping our office space downtown and converting old office space into housing, including affordable housing, because, people are not just going to bring their businesses to vacant storefronts if there's not a population, right? And so last year, for the first time in over a decade, we had population growth in the city of Chicago. And so all of the investments that we're making towards safety, all the investments that we're making with our bond investment to build affordable homes, to create small businesses, to strengthen small businesses, to encourage people to experience the arts and culture in our city, and more tourism is coming through here. We're building a new hospital. We don't talk a lot about this, Advocate Health on the southeast side of Chicago. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of new investment, and we're just getting started. And what I'll just end with this: that it really takes vision, but it also takes hard work, right? As my father would say and remind us in the scriptures, that faith without works is dead. And so, in order for us to keep the city growing, to keep people alive, we have to put work in, and that's what we're doing. I'm proud of the Missing Middle program, where we broke ground in Wandale. That's where Dr. King lived, where he came fighting for affordable housing. And our Missing Middle is going to create owner-occupied homes where you have developers who are indigenous to the community to create multi-units on large swaths of land, again, for owners to be able to build generational wealth, while also, building more units for people to afford to live in. And that part I'm incredibly proud of. And we just did that a few weeks ago in North Lawndale, Roseland. We're paying attention to every neighborhood that had been ignored for decades, but no longer, not with the progressive, bold apparatus that we have here in Chicago. And we are certainly on pace to build the safest, most affordable big city in America, and we're doing it together.
That's the key thing, that we're doing it together. Kate, as we wrap up, just got a little bit of time left, but your thoughts, your feelings, your impact on this being Black History Month. And as I say, Black history is American history 365. But a couple quick thoughts there, Mayor Johnson.
Yeah, man. I'm often reminded, man, of just like how many people fought and bled and sacrificed and died for the full expression of this country. And in order for this country to be fully liberated, we have to reconcile and restore and help Black families recover from just decades of abuse and slavery and segregation. And so as I reflect on this month, I'm thinking about how far we've come, and, now what you're seeing, not just in Chicago, but across America, where you have Black leaders, Black women who are standing firm up against a tyrant. I mean, I think it's just, I think it's almost poetic or prophetic, the fact that you have, a Black governor in Maryland, a Black mayor in Baltimore, Oakland, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Black woman for the first time in Detroit, right? And so you're at a time in which our country's democracy is certainly being threatened. The very people who helped build this democracy and build this country, even when this country did not recognize us as human beings, are now in a position to not just protect what we built, even if it wasn't designed for us in its origin state, but to make it better than what we had. And that's what this moment means for me, Black history, that we get to make something better. Because let's just be honest, Richard, Black people, we always make it better, whether it's our democracy or whether it's shrimp and grits. We make it better. You got to have a little bit of seasoning that comes from the culture in which raised us.
Absolutely. Mayor Johnson, that is a great clip. Thank you for your leadership. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday. Be safe this weekend, and we look forward to talking to you again soon, okay?
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye. Guys, stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show. As always, take a deep breath and make your life count. We will see you next week.
Interested in debt-free education? It's one benefit of apprenticeship with Plumbers Local 130 UA of the greater Chicagoland area. These days, high school seniors need to rethink going to a four-year college and creating debt with no plan in sight. Students and their parents need to think about learning a trade that pays you to learn and create a career. Being part of Plumbers Local Union 130 UA achieves those goals. As an apprentice, you receive great wages, great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription drug, vision, and hearing. No college debt, 2 pensions, and access to union wellness centers and eye care with 0 deductibles and 0 copays. Admission to the Plumbing Apprenticeship Program ends February 13th or with the first 2,000 submissions. Applicants have to be 18 years old and have a high school diploma or a GED certificate. See the full list of requirements and qualifications and apply for your future now at apply.jac130.org.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Senate Majority Leader John Thune is calling Democratic demands for restrictions on federal immigration officers unrealistic. Democrats say without changes at 3 agencies, they will not vote to fund the Homeland Security Department. Filmmaker Woody Allen's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein has been known for years, but emails in the newly released Justice Department records illustrate that relationship in new depth. In 2015, Allen and his wife, Soon-Yi Previn, went on a trip to Washington, D.C. with the help of their friend Epstein. They were able to tour the White House. Allen, his wife, and Epstein were neighbors in New York City, and the records show the 3 frequently dined together. They offered each other emotional support during periods when they were being criticized in the media. They also discussed being accused of sexual misconduct, which they described as unfair. In other news, the AP's Lisa Dwyer reports that even with a small amount of aid going to Cuba, the country is still struggling to keep the lights on.
Even as the U.S. sends an additional $6 million worth of Hurricane Melissa aid to Cuba's hard-hit eastern region, Cuba's overall economic crisis still deepens, with Cuba's president accusing the U.S. of an energy blockade. Last week, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to impose tariffs on any country that sells or provides oil to Cuba. Residents of a small coastal town in the northwest say they still face severe hardships despite living near energy sources. Kenya Montoya laments that until December, things were a little better. Now it's January and money is tight. The anvil is crushing us, and asks, where's the improvement? Senior State Department official Jeremy Lewin says Cuba is to blame for the hardships for their people, not the U.S.
This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. Matthew Stafford edged Drake May for the AP NFL Most Valuable Player Award. Cleveland's Myles Garrett was named Defensive Player of the Year. San Francisco's Christian McCaffrey was Comeback Player of the Year, and New England's Mike Vrabel was Coach of the Year. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig were voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo and Memphis's Ja Morant were not traded ahead of Thursday's NBA trade deadline. Chris Gotterup shot 63 and has a two-stroke lead atop the boisterous Phoenix Open after one round. Scottie Scheffler struggled with an opening 2/73, and Haley Scamora scored twice as the U.S. opened the Olympic women's hockey tournament with a 5-1 win over Czechia. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered areas of snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times here early today, then a few spotty flurries here late, with cloudy skies and a high into the mid-30s. Winds out of the northwest increased around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. Tonight, decreasing cloud cover, a low near 11. By Saturday, sunshine, high of 24 degrees. Sunday, cloudy, high of 32. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 31.
This is Chicago's progressive talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
When you picture your loved one, what do you remember? Their eyes, their laugh, that smile, or smirk? This is Dr. Anna Pellick from Total Dentistry in Palatine and Streamwood. Your smile is your forever instrument, just as critical as your hips, lungs, or heart. Your smile is a part of you, a very special part of you. Without teeth, your daily function deteriorates. You can't eat, speak, or laugh without reservation. I'm sure this is not the forever memory you want to leave behind. So if this describes your smile, it's time for a total dentistry change. Make your smile your priority in 2026. Like Rome, smiles are not necessarily built in a day, but once completed, can be a life-lasting memory of you and your beautiful art form. So be the reason someone smiles today, and be the smile they always remember. Total Dentistry, 847-358-2477, or visit TotalDentistry.org. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Corey called to consolidate his debt and was so happy with my advice, he left me this 5-star Google review. Quote, I was looking to pay off debt, so I reached out to David after listening to his radio show. David called me personally and walked me through my options. He shot it straight. There was no beating around the bush or pushing me to sign anything. If any of my family or friends need anything related to a mortgage, I'll give them David's number because you can't get better or more honest service. Thanks, Corey. I strongly encourage everyone to check out our close to 600 5-star Google reviews from listeners like Corey. Team Hochberg helped Corey and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.